Okay, let's see if we got this going. Yep, there we are. Hey guys, happy Sunday. How's everybody doing today? How's your Sunday going? Hopefully you're getting to spend some family time. Wanted to talk to you today about a topic that is not really getting enough attention in AI because people have talked about it, but I think that everyone is focused on the new model, the new technology, the new features and functions that are coming out, and they're not really talking about this. And that is, what's the plan for displacement? We just heard in the news that Meta laid off an additional 8,000 people, and this was the second time they did a layoff. 8,000 people. That's a lot. That's not 80, that's not 800. And as we continue to move forward with AI and make progress with automation, where we don't need people to do these jobs anymore, what are we going to do with these people? And so we have to have a plan. So whether we are a small business owner or we work for a medium to large scale business, it is all of our responsibilities to contribute towards that plan. Now you may be saying, Mark, well, that sounds good, but like I'm not the executive in charge of this. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But even if you're not the executive that's in charge, or even if it's not your business, you can contribute towards the plan. You have ideas. Your ideas are of value. Your ideas are of substance. You can decide how you want to contribute because we cannot have this level of global displacement. Because what happens is, let's take the Meta example. We have almost 10,000 people that are displaced. When you add the numbers up across all these different companies that have done the displacements, we see over 100,000 employees displaced this year alone due to AI and automation across all kinds of companies like Oracle, etc. That's 100,000 people that now need to come back into the workforce. And what they are doing that no one likes to talk about because it's uncomfortable is they are now competing for the current jobs where people are already in seats, or they're fighting for what few jobs are out there. Now, in some ways, yes, of course, competition is good. Competition helps us to be better. Competition, for those of us out there that are not naturally inclined to constantly have a fire under them and move and motivate, competition will help you do that. But this is a global problem. And some people will go spin off and start their own businesses and get into different industries. One woman I know went off with her husband and they started a bakery. And I think they're much happier, to be honest, and good for them. But not all of us are going to be able to go out and start a bakery, or not all of us are going to, just set up shop and start a business. So we have to have a plan. Now, maybe that plan is something like we're going to train our people, we're going to give them new skills, we're going to give them new jobs like they did at IKEA. IKEA rolled out some AI automation in the form of customer service, and they took a whole bunch of people and retrained them and have them working on design now. And I think that's a great thing. And we should all have some kind of plan in place that says not just we want to do AI so that we can reduce our costs, but the people that are actually doing these jobs now, what are we going to do with them? It's easy to say, well, hey, that's their problem, survival of the fittest, that's the way of the world. It's easy to say that stuff. It's also irresponsible. And the people that say those things are probably people that have never been laid off or displaced themselves due to AI automation or technology. And they think that in some way they're untouchable, that their job could never be at risk because of AI. And I'm here to tell you that all of our jobs, every single one of us, even the CEO, our job is at risk due to AI. So we all have to upskill. We all have to be better. Not be afraid. Don't fear monger, but we need to be aware of what's happening around us. We can't just bury our head in the sand and oh no, divorce fix us or my business will be safe because it won't be. Technology is moving faster than anything I've ever seen. And I've been working across product and tech my whole career for over 20 years. So the moral of the story here is we have to have a plan. What are we going to do with our people that are going to be displaced? We cannot just throw everyone back into the workforce and tell them, good luck, fight it out. That's not fair to the workforce. It's not fair to the global economy. It's not fair to the people that get displaced. And it's not fair to us either, because what we'll find is you can run an AI process 8 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, and nothing changes. And the process works perfectly, but all of a sudden it just stops working. And the reason why it just stops working is because these hallucinations, which is just a fancy term, we don't understand why they hallucinate. Fundamentally, we do not understand. Versus when you do something programmatically, you understand exactly how it works. And you can write in all these different scenarios to counteract these different variables. So the program works for you. It always works. But AI is different. You give it something to do and it works, it works, it works. And then all of a sudden, nothing has changed and it just does not behave the same way. And no one can give us an answer why. So it's very important that we keep our people around so that when these things stop working on a large scale, we have people that can still roll up their sleeves, get things done, make sure that there's no interruption in service, that we don't go down. Maybe they have to do something semi-manual. We have people that understand how AI works, that they can roll up their sleeves, get their hands in there, fix it, change it. But we have to have a plan for those two things. Number one, what do we do with our people that are displaced due to AI? And number two, what do we do when the system hallucinates? What is our process? We need to know that walking in the door ahead of time on a large scale. Once again, whether you have a small business or you are working in a medium to large scale business, corporation, company, what is the plan? Not just let's do more AI, let's have more agentic systems, let's reduce our operational costs, let's automate everything. AI for the sake of AI is not the goal. What do we do with our people? What's the plan for our people? And even with a really good training plan, we need to understand that if you give me, a guy like me, access to the same level of training as your average employee is not going to retain and be able to produce the same way what I would call your business champions are. Your business champions are going to live and breathe this stuff. They're going to build with this stuff. They're naturally going to be curious. Most average workers are going to say, what do I need to know? Tell me the bare minimum just so that I could do my job so my job is not in danger. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. We need to have a plan that allows for people to learn at different speeds, for people to be at different levels. We cannot assume that everyone is going to use AI the same way. Just like everyone wouldn't use a hammer the same way. It's just a tool. Age doesn't matter, background doesn't matter, gender doesn't matter. People are going to adopt and use AI differently. And yes, we need standards and we need training, but we need a plan to take care of our people. And we need a plan that says, what is our margin for error when this thing hallucinates? We created a test environment before we rolled it out into production. We used synthetic data and we ran 10,000 tests at night, every night for the past week. And based on that, we know exactly what our probability of error is. We know exactly how many times it fails. And this is exactly what we're going to do. These are the people that are in place that know how to put a workaround so that it can still operate. With an emphasis, guys, on workaround, because once again, to hammer this point home, we do not fundamentally understand why a AI system hallucinates, and there is no fix for it. There are workarounds. You can tell the model to be more conservative. You can factor in all these different ways to have it loop and have it do goals to try and get it to persist. But we don't understand why it hallucinates, why it just stops, why it doesn't work when it used to work. And then tomorrow we try it again and it works. No one can answer this. So have a plan, take care of our people, make sure your people are trained up. Don't expect everyone to be the same. Don't expect everyone to do the same training, and run your tests. Use AI to run your tests, to do simulated tests where it's running hundreds, if not thousands of tests overnight while you're sleeping locally, so you're not burning tokens. And then you can know exactly what your error rate is. So you can say, we ran this thing 10,000 times over the past 7 days at night. It ran every day from 2 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the morning, so there was no interruption in service. And what we find is for every 10,000 tests, it failed 1.5% of the time, which actually equals X amount of tests. And when it failed, it tends to always fail on these 3 or 4 things. So here's our workarounds so that from a client perspective, from a workflow perspective, it doesn't look like it's failing. And then we took those workarounds, we simulated those workarounds in a testing environment. We ran those workarounds another 10,000 times with synthetic data. And now we can tell you that we've reduced our error rate so it operates 99.98% of the times. And no one's doing that. So with AI, we can move faster, which is great. We can go from idea to prototype to production. Forget about days, hours. Which is good. But we have to have a plan in place for when it fails. We need to have some gauge of when it fails, why it fails, the percentage of time it fails. And once again, I'm going to hammer this point home. Who are the people we keep on site as backups? And we tell them, your job has changed. Now your job is to monitor the process, to manage the agents, to manage the models. And when they fail, have those workarounds ready and in place. Very important, guys. Well, once again, happy Sunday. I hope everybody's enjoying this beautiful weather here. I hope you're enjoying some well-deserved family time. If you ever want to talk more about this stuff, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about it. I'd love to help you out. Love to know what your situation, your unique situation is like. And I'd love to help you put a plan in place to make sure that your people are taken care of, that your margin of error is factored in, and that you don't get caught with your pants down because now you've let all your people go and now your system is hallucinating and you don't know what to do. You're panicking, calling the vendor, and the vendor's not taking your calls. Don't let that be you. All right. Remember to hustle harder. Let's talk again soon. Have a great day.